Hey, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's good? It's your girl KB. It's Monday morning. I'm dragging. I'm just generally overall tired. Um, it's February 12th, and it is 2:58 in the a.m. I am reading just for today, and it's entitled Living in the Moment. Somebody needs to hear this message about staying in the moment because a lot of us are engaged in future tripping. You know, what we're going to get, how we're going to get it, you know, that word manifest. Or we're tripping on something in the past. You know, the if I coulda, woulda, shouldas. Both of which are crippling. You heard me talk about a limp earlier. That will cause a limp. Looking behind will also cause you to stumble and fall if you're moving forward. Heard that? Looking behind will cause you to stumble and fall if you're moving forward. See, when you're moving forward, the things in the rearview mirror get smaller and then they disappear. That's if you're moving forward. But most of us drive like we're backing into a parking spot. Most of us do our faith walk like we're backing into a parking spot. Now, just because I'm talking about, you know, the hazard of looking back, that does not absolve you from accountability and making amends if you're moving forward. Because you want to move forward without baggage. You want to move forward knowing that you put your best effort out there to correct some things. You want to move forward building on a strong foundation. Amen. See, most people, now that's in the past. We're not going to bring up the past. That's because you don't want accountability. And see, that lets me know you're not prepared to move into the future because you can't be accountable for what you did. It's always going to be, let's gloss over this. Or you're always going to be the victim. And I want to say to a good number of folks that, you know, we talk about the word narcissist and narcissism, and I want to challenge our thinking on just the label, and I want us to maybe consider that we are now coming into the knowledge of our own sin and our sin nature, and we don't like what we see, so we label it and we project and judge others. Amen. There's a level of consciousness, you know, a burgeoning spiritual awakening. Amen. But again, you know, it is corrupted by our nature. So we twist the focus just enough for us to feel good about ourselves. So there's still our nature mixed up in the things that we should be addressing. Notice I said should, because free will does come into play. Notice I said we, because I'm guilty of the crime as well. I never talk about something that I'm not willing to address in myself. Amen. Okay, so just for today, it's entitled Living in the Moment. It says, we regretted the past, dreaded the future, and weren't too thrilled about the present. Regretted the past, dreaded the future, and weren't too thrilled about the present. Now, you've heard me talk about my southern roots. You've pretty much heard me talk about grandma. And you pretty much heard me talk about how things have more power when you say them grammatically incorrect. So, somebody that regrets the past, dreads the future, and is discontent about where they are now, Grandma would always ask the question, what you mad for? Not what are you mad about, what are you mad for? What you mad for? And that right there, that statement, you knew you were either going to get a lecture or some serious correction in the moment when you heard the question. What you mad for? So maybe we need to stop and ask ourselves, what are we mad about? What are we upset over? What causes our anger? See how that doesn't have the same emphasis as what you're mad for? Okay, let me just get into this. Until we experience the healing that happens when we work the 12 steps, the healing that happens when we come to God. The 12 steps are nice, they're very good principles, but unless your conscience is plugged in to, as they say in the book, a power greater than yourself, you're going to find a way to gloss over it. You're going to find a way to make this situation somebody else's problem, or tell yourself that it doesn't apply to you. It says, until we experience the healing that happens when we work the 12 steps, it is doubtful we can find a statement more true than the quote above. And that quote is, we regretted the past, dreaded the future, and weren't too thrilled about the present. Most of us come to, it says NA, hanging our heads in shame, thinking about the past and wishing we could go back and change it. Most of us come to Christ that way. There's something that happens in our lives that we say nobody can ever forgive us or love us, because now we've connected to our level of conscience that tweaks the soul. That's called contrition, folks. The writer says our fantasies and expectations about the future may be so extreme that our first date with someone, we find ourselves wondering which lawyer we'll use for the divorce. Now that is future tripping. We can't even be in the moment to enjoy the moment because, what's my next move? And if you're that far into planning, then should be a sign to go home and to sit with yourself for a little longer, because that's manipulation. So I've got to plot and plan this next thing out, and that is manipulation, folks, and you have not healed from whatever. It says almost every experience causes us to remember something from the past or begin projecting into the future. You have not healed. And you heard me say the other day, many of us take bricks from old relationships that we used to throw at one another and start a new relationship, building the foundation with those very same bricks. Anger, manipulation, brokenness, guilt, shame. And we build without the cornerstone of Christ. The writer says at first it's difficult to stay in the moment. It seems as though our minds won't stop. We've had a hard time just enjoying ourselves. And see, some people can't enjoy themselves without a little something, something. You know, that in and of itself is a problem that complicates the problem that's already present. It says each time we realize that our thoughts are not focused on what's happening right now, we can pray and ask the loving God to help us get out of ourselves. If we regret the past, we make amends by living different today. If you regret the past, you make amends, period. You know, the living different today gives you an opportunity to dismiss whatever it is that you've done. So you're living with this elephant in the room, you know, because you've done this, whatever it is, consistently in your life, and you've never dealt with it. It's just that if we dread the future, we work on living responsibly today. You know, ask God to help you. Bottom line, heal and mend the things that you've torn up in your past, so you don't take that same hurricane force into your future. Amen.